the dream of you. So all there is this moment, just this moment happening, nothing more. Isn't that amazing? And you know, I've said this like thousands and thousands of times seemingly on all these YouTube videos. But isn't it truly and utterly amazing that all there is this moment and everything else is thought? Everything else is thought. So it is thought that you're listening to a talk. Isn't that something? It is thought that you are listening to a talk. So you're not actually listening to a talk. You're dreaming that you're listening to a talk. Isn't that crazy? So it's like a nighttime dream that's appearing of you, of this imagination of you listening to a talk. What's actually happening now is just what's happening now. Which is way beyond the idea that you are listening to a talk. That's your imagination of what's happening. What's happening now is simply this, which is undescribable. There is words happening, there is breeze happening, there is energy happening, there is this happening. Nothing more. Just this happening. So it's imagination that you walked into this room, that you chose to listen to this talk, that you are doing anything. You are an imagination. Everything that you imagine about yourself, everything is a dream. Your childhood, your partner, your children, anything. Even if your children are here, it's still an imagination that they are your children, that they are someone. In the moment, in the intimacy of it, they're nothing. It's an imagination that you're in a house, it's imagination that you're on a continent, it's imagination that you're on a planet, it's imagination that this is good or bad, that there is light or no light. It is all imagination. It is all imagination. And the reason that that's important, so maybe some of you listening was like, how in the hell does that help me? And why does that even matter? The reason that this is important to see is because there is an element of yourself that has been forgotten. There's been such a strong fixation on the dream of you, on dreaming about that you've just come from the previous room, that you're sitting here listening to a talk, that you have friends, family, that you are this or that there's another part of you which has been forgotten. And that's what in these talks we're trying to wake up, although that part of you doesn't need waking up. It already is awake. It cannot be asleep. But it just feels like it's asleep because there's such a focus on the dream of you, on this daydream of you sitting here, you listening to me. That's already being lost in thought. What else is happening? And that's actually, it's not already being lost in thoughts. That's maybe too judgmental. It's already thinking. And it's not that thinking is wrong. It's just that when it's believed, it becomes overactive and it just takes over the whole screen, and the deeper part of you, this other part of you, is forgotten. This stillness, this freedom, this place that doesn't judge, this reset. What is it here right now that is free and not suffering, and not judging, not complaining, not needing or wanting or desiring or not desiring? Where is that? A lot of spirituality and spiritual teachers and groups focus on a lot of the person doing something and the person becoming something. And there's nothing wrong with that. I actually think it's really important to work on your person, and that often precludes this realization. But it's not about you doing something. It's not about you getting to something. It's realizing what is already free right here, right now, in this. What is free? What cannot be lost? What never leaves? What is always here? And I can say the words in the positive, but know that these words aren't really it. So I could name it as the big consciousness. So there is this consciousness and this being, this I am, that is here and present. So in every moment, everywhere you go, everything you do, there is always this consciousness, this spaciousness. And this consciousness is not separate from everything. It's not behind the eyes, watching everything. It is everything. So the one consciousness is my voice, is my face, is the wall, is the room, it's the colours, the sounds. It is all things that are happening right here. All things. And it is love. This isn't a dead realization. This is what the Buddha would call the end of suffering. If me and the Buddha are talking about the same thing, I can't guarantee that. But I feel like there's a similarity, and the Buddha spoke very much about the end of suffering. The end of suffering is the remembering of this, which isn't an activity of the brain. It's not an activity of thought. It's a remembering of something beyond thought. So what is here beyond thought? What doesn't come and go? What is beyond story? This is so beautiful. This is all that's ever wanted. So there is a freedom that is beyond you. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't rely on anything that's happening in your life. So your life could be going well, your life could be going badly, your life could be mediocre. There could be all types of things in the life happening, but this is beyond all of that. It doesn't require anything. And this is the birthright of all things. And it's right here. this isn't about you doing. So the mind might have ideas, okay, I have to do something to get this. And this isn't about you having particular thought patterns. It's beyond all of that. We can talk about that and we can look at the human level of things, but it's beyond that. There is something experiencing now which isn't in time. It's right here. It's so silent and still. This goes beyond time, dimension, space, thought. And this is, to me, where God resides. And it's experiencing everything. And it needs nothing. Nothing that it needs. Nothing that it wants. So what is an experiencing that isn't wanting? A person wants, it wants to be something, it wants to be an ego, believe it or not, although it doesn't think like that, but it wants to be better than the neighbor, it wants to be more successful, it wants to have money, for example, it wants to have family and kids and a house and sunshine and forever happy. All good things. And then what is it in this experience that isn't wanting, that isn't needing? Can only be beyond the daydream of you. So what is here right now that's beyond you? I know it can be so confusing. The mind is like mind really like looking, and then there's something here which is still an experiencing, a non-conceptual. Sometimes when it's first realized, it's still conceptual, it's got conceptual elements to it. It's not really experiential. There is kind of like personal awareness seeing the big consciousness. But it's still an abstract to the mind, but that's kind of really beautiful realization. It is an awakening in a way. But then there is this deeper seeing, which is like a sinking into this silence and it just being the way it is without any separation from mind. Nice. Es ist. That is beautiful. So now we can go to questions if you